Hi, I'm Steve. I head up our tech and high growth team. Today I've got Asif with me, who heads up our early stage team. I just want to take you through some of the main principles that we think about when we're building and investing in our early stage team, and some of the things that we see as super important in supporting early stage companies. So Asif, good to have you here. I think it'd be good to talk a little bit around the proposition of how we support early stage companies and particularly how we see them scaling through into the growth stage.
Sure. So firstly, I think it's always been a challenge to service the early stage market, and people have historically always struggled to understand exactly what founders want, because the founder journey is very different to a finance department's journey. It's so much more a sort of people business than it is a technical business. And so we've always known that there are a set of needs that a founder and a company have, but then later down the line, there is an education process that someone needs to take the responsibility of seeing them through. We've always taken the responsibility of sort of leading the charge with that, and understanding where founders may not be able to foresee that there are issues on the horizon as part of a sort of growth story. Making sure that we are able to surround them with the competencies and the people that they need to be able to grow into the businesses that they ultimately were destined to grow into. And I think that's what's really resonated in the market. We focus, even with all of our own team members, on making sure that the relationships with the individuals are of paramount importance, and that the relationship should always trump everything else. And I think that focus is really what's underpinned what we do for the business.
Yeah. So in the tech and high growth team, we have a full scale audit team, we have a full scale tax team, full scale R&D team, but we are investing in the early stage team, which Asif is heading up, mainly because we do see that we need to see these companies at seed stage all the way through as they scale into venture rounds, and actually support them all the way through the venture journey. That is very important to us in this team, and we're building this team to be able to help companies all the way through those phases. But at early stage, I think everyone in the market is aware that it's difficult to properly support early stage companies with what they need in the finance agenda. I think it might be useful, as if we take us through some of the principles of how we actually deliver to early stage companies, because getting it right, as I say, is not easy, but crucially, the way in which we're thinking about building this team and this practice, I think will make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think fundamentally, as you said earlier, we want to build a capability that can allow companies go all the way from incorporation to an exit with one room of advisors. I think historically, the advisor community has not done a great job of being able to really keep a relationship all the way through that journey. You have sort of early stage focused companies, and then later stage focused companies, and then it's really the founder's responsibility to navigate when one is right and when one is not right. So we've taken that friction out as a fundamental factor that underpins our delivery, to say all of your needs are within one room, and there's really no sort of friction in scaling up from that perspective. However, then along that journey, we've also recognized that there are a few fundamental factors that go into providing a service that really is tailored to the founder community as opposed to the finance department community, which I say is a very distinct difference, which we highlight in our team. And again, like I said, many other firms don't. And the first being that we focus primarily on our people, to make sure that if we have the right people, they are trained in a way to then also be able to deal with other people. And so much of what the advisor community currently focuses on is the product and not the people. And our product effectively is our people. So we've got a sort of strenuous and sort of rigorous hiring process. We also invest a lot of time and energy in training to making sure that all of our staff are adequately trained on the issues that our clients face day to day. And really that, without much effort then beyond that, sets us apart from the other advisor community to say, well, this is definitely the best team in this industry to be able to service the early stage market. The second then, and a very close second, I'd say it was almost an equal first, is that we wrap it around with a very sort of strong operational framework. So I recognize at the earlier stage that operations is actually almost more important than the accounting. The accounting can actually be quite simple for an early stage business, which is the irony also, because when the accounting is the simplest is when the client relationship is the hardest. And so the operational framework has really underpinned, everything from how we onboard clients to how engagements are managed through the life cycle, how they move to different team members within our team. And that really underpins our team's ability to be able to really make sure there are no cracks for our clients to fall through. The third is actually, it's an odd thing to put at number 3, but it really does underpin a lot of how we encourage our team to work with clients is to make sure that we're always operating with a level of integrity that is almost questionable. And when I say questionable, I mean a lot of the time clients are almost questioning why it is that we are deliberately trying to do ourselves out of fees. And the reason for that is because my fundamental thesis on building this capability is that we will have done our job well if a client very quickly stops needing us. And again, that's something that it would be obvious if you think about it from a distance, but it's not obvious if you read a lot of the collateral in the early stage advisor community. And why do I say that? Is because, well, actually, the longer an early stage business is working with our team, the sort of more muscle atrophy they have to be able to develop those skills in-house. And actually, the foundations of a really strong startup that grows into becoming a scale-up is that they retain a lot of those capabilities in-house. And so actually our focus is to make sure how quickly can we get these capabilities working well internally so that we no longer have to do it for them. And the reason that we're able to do that is because, like I said, we now are part of a much bigger team. We know that we can support those companies through growth and into an exit, and are not as reliant on making sure that we sort of profit from them when they're earlier stage businesses. And then sort of lastly, as a result of all of that internal work, we focus on being visible effectively for our clients, and just make sure that they're not hearing from us and seeing us and talking to us at the points of having things submitted. They know that we are an earpiece for a lot of the issues that they face. So, we like to sort of almost act like a hub. It's a sort of a hub and spoke relationship where, because we've known the founders from almost day zero, we're the trusted advisor, if I could use that term, to help them navigate which lawyers to work with, because naturally we will know the appropriate lawyers and which other capabilities can they benefit from, or what other issues can we help them solve, even if they're not accounting or tax related. So those are the sort of basic 4 principles that underpin our delivery method, and I'd like to say is being met with some success.
In terms of partnerships and things we're doing in the market, it'd be useful just to maybe talk about how we're plugged into that early stage community and how that ultimately will bring value to early stage clients that we have.
So actually, the partnerships angle that we use with clients is again rooted in the integrity pillar, because a lot of what we focus on, again, like I said, is making sure that we are not selling or offering services that we are fundamentally not best placed to deliver. And again, that has underpinned a lot of my delivery over the years, and therefore it's been incumbent upon me to go and find the best people that can fill in those gaps. So whether it's lawyers, whether it's a CFO bench that we can plug in to a company that has rapidly scaled, whether it's finance partners, people who can provide lending facilities, or we've got all of these relationships because those network partners recognize us as a sort of market leader in this space, and so a worthwhile partner for them as well. And so we have sort of reams and reams of partners that we've developed specific relationships with for individual circumstances that gives our staff the comfort to also be able to say, this is something that we are not specialists in, but we know exactly who is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just talking a little bit around the journey around taking a business, an early stage business through, ultimately being their outsource provider. But then as we start to support them in-housing that function, maybe talk a little bit around this strategic finance capability that we've got in that intermediate phase, maybe as they've in-housed, but they're still scaling, they still need support. Maybe before the growth stage where maybe the audit appointment comes and international expansion comes and some of the more complex areas come. But there's that middle ground, I think, which is important in terms of the way we support.
Yeah, so the strategic finance capability came as a result of effectively the model working, and to some extent us visibly seeing that our clients were going on this journey towards scale. And as a result of sort of going on that journey, you want to introduce these capabilities to founders where they are sort of beginning to look at numbers more forward-looking as opposed to retrospectively. A lot of the sort of earlier products and services that we're able to offer are more around making sure that retrospective numbers are reported in a compliant way. But as these companies grow, they have forecasting requirements or commercial finance requirements or modeling exercises that they need to undertake. And actually us being able to provide that for them is so much more a natural fit than them going and finding an external person, because we've been so pivotal in helping them set up that finance function in the first place. And so we've actually seen a lot of value in offering that capability to founders that are about to raise a big funding round. If they are about to enter a new vertical in their businesses and they want to model that scenario out over sort of 1, 3 or 5 years. And because they have that relationship with us, they almost can automatically tap into the vulnerability of not knowing how to go about modeling out those exercises. And the same group of people within our team are able to help them with other sort of mapping out exercises when it comes to finance, because a lot of those times, again, early stage companies by definition wouldn't have those skill sets in-house. And so it's provided a really nice bridge between going from a out and out compliance relationship all the way into, look, on the other side of this bridge, we're probably going to have our own finance team, our own CFO, our own possibly new set of investors, but we need something in between this and that to help us get there. And that's our strategic finance capability.
And this is a particularly unique aspect of this team, because we're not only are we all very focused on supporting venture-backed companies, but we're now able to support them from this early stage through that middle bridge stage of strategic support and in-house in the finance team, and then into growth stage, into a full scale, audit appointment. And, to some extent, we're not really going to tap out at any point. So you've got a provider that works all the way through the journey.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that continuity, I think, is really unique. And again, because we do have the privilege of working with founders almost before they even know that that's something they're going to want. We are now able to introduce them to that concept right at the very start. Whereas actually, when you speak to founders after they've exited, it's only then that they realize that they've probably been through 5 different types of advisors over the time that they grew, but they just didn't know any better along the way. We've always seen anecdotally that some clients just start off with a local high street accounting firm, but they're a deep tech business. That mismatch has always been a little bit crazy to me. But hopefully now, with the education that we can put into the market around why we are set up in a more appropriate way, we can sort of begin to make changes in that way.